in defined what we were actually doing a little bit more. Uh,
Yeah.
So we started a garden. We planted mystery seeds. Half of them we know are going to be cucumbers. This is out of game. We know out of game.
Alright.
Half of them are going to be cucumbers. Half of them are going to be whatever Sheepy decides they are. Jose and Brooks went on an adventure where Jose captained his first ship for our group, and Farland got us some information about a treasure ship that we might be able to hit. Brooks bought some herbs that are definitely not poisonous, and some herbs that are definitely poisonous. And he set up his little garden. I have yelled at him out of character not to plant mint in the ground. We're trying to figure out if anybody's character would actually understand what mint is to make sure they don't plant it in the ground. So there's that. It was a successful trip. They made contacts in Fodachi ports, and they didn't ruin any contacts we have in Veston ports. And pretty much we left off with we built a bunch of stuff. So there are apartments, which is pretty much a 2-story bunkhouse, except there are rooms instead of just straight bunks. There's the farm. We're trying to figure out if any of us have enough information to start building a sewage system. And that's pretty much it, unless I missed anything, Sheepy.
I started training people.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Bowden started training people.
Started what? Sorry.
Training people.
Oh, training. Okay.
Yeah.
My cat, like I've been playing my character as sort of like a more well-to-do person. He might know of like sewage systems. I don't know if there's any reason he'd know how to make one or how they work though. Like you might understand like the basic function of here's a toilet, you flush it. But
Also, I do believe it wasn't last session, but it might have been the session before. One of the other sessions you missed. Bowden went out of his way and got you maps and stuff from a ship.
ooh, nice.
Yes.
You know, the same in regards to mint. I don't think there's any reason my character would know about mint either. I don't know why he would know about herbs. Particularly.
It was Dooza, don't forget to join the Roll20.
Alright.
And anyone else who hasn't yet.
I mean, is there a knowledge roll or something I could roll? You know, given that he's like he would have been well educated. Like, there's a possibility he might know about a little about herbs. Is there something like I could roll to see if he knows anything about like random subjects like herbs or sewage systems or what have you?
I'd probably go off just like general logic. Like, I don't think anyone would know about sewage systems unless it was something they specifically had looked into.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. In terms of herbs,
Would Lockbox know things about herbs?
I'd say it would be more likely if you're a slightly more kind of self-sufficient survivalist style character. Just purely because it's something like generally speaking, if you're more well-to-do, you actually probably know less about things like herbs, just purely because they would tend to turn up at the local market or something, you know,
Fair.
and you buy it from people, as opposed to like having to look.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm.
But that's what I was wondering. Like, you know, that's what I did say. Like, education. Like, would you have learned it during studies? I don't know.
I mean, it's
Don Costa is probably the person that studies ontology and ethics and that sort of shit.
yeah.
I mean, I'm fine if not. I just want to. I'm just
Yeah,
wondering if.
I don't think any of us thought that our player characters would know this. I was just personally hoping Sheepy wouldn't have an NPC among the crew that would be like, "Don't plant that in the ground. Keep it in a pot."
Like somebody goes to plant in the ground and just a random NPC runs up like slow motion. No.
I don't think any of you were particularly intending on planting it in the ground, to my knowledge, but
I know
all
nothing
we
about
know,
farming.
all we know
so-
is Brooks plans on starting an herb garden around his house.
yeah.
Damn Man was not specific on how he planned on doing that.
Yeah. And yeah, I think you also investigated the Spanish fort
Mm-hmm.
with an idea to kind of gather intel. You had Brooks and Franks and a couple of the others who were more suited to wet works. Berto and Macario went to check it out and found that it would be a difficult prospect to have at it, essentially. And not necessarily, like, I think the thing you pretty much ended on was like, we could maybe go in there and snag a ship maybe in the night, and then go off with it. But correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe anyone thought it was a profitable enterprise to like fuck up the port or steal everything from the port or the fort.
No,
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah.
Something like that could end very badly. We're not established well enough. We don't have a big enough fleet to fight off any forces that come after us, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, you have one ship at the moment, and
Yeah.
it's...
Probably not the best idea to piss off port authorities.
Yeah. And just remind me again, where did we leave off? We left off with all of you back at the island, I believe. After
Yeah,
having...
we just returned.
Yeah. Did you? I swear. I need to.
We were back at the island and we were starting to plan how to get that treasure ship.
Right. There's a ship, that is coming down from the Vadachi.
Yeah, you said it was actually out over here.
That's right. Yeah.
Where it picked up the jewels. It's supposed to stop at the Vadachi port to resupply, and then it's gonna sail back to the old world.
Yeah. Had you figured out your plans?
Kind of?
Yeah, we had some internal brainstorming with Potato.
Yeah.
So the assumption is that it will be one treasure ship which will be escorted by 1 or 2 military ships.
Yeah.
And we assumed, and this might be wrong, that they will stop in Vodachi port before sailing around our island, the pirate island.
somewhere nearby. Yeah, given the prevailing winds, it makes sense that they would essentially head in your direction, probably in the more open sea, because obviously, if you go too far south, the Castilians might see you. If you go too far north, the Ison or anyone else might see you. So, and no one knows that your island is there.
I was gonna say they're just sailing past. Someone says, "Captain, we're nearing Pirate Island. Do you think the pirates might be hiding there?" No, don't be silly. Pirates would never hide there. That would be too obvious. Meanwhile,
There's no possible way that's Pirate Island. It looks like a capybara.
I'm pretty sure it was me that typed in Cape Capybara there, or put Cape Capybara.
Yeah, you decided to name it that.
I mean, I named it that as a joke. I wasn't being serious, but fair enough.
I mean, it does look like a capybara. Maybe even a parrot, possibly. Although,
too wide in the face to be a parrot.
Yeah.
Definitely a capybara.
Yeah, and the kind of...
Obviously, it's a crab's claw. Anyway.
It could also be a crab's claw with a hole in it, I guess, but...
Yeah.
You know, crabs are weird. Alright. In that case, we should probably start off... let's start off with yes, I think the best place to start off would be at a council meeting, essentially to decide who wants to any captain or any council member wanting to put themselves forward for the venture, essentially.
Okay.
I don't think this was decided, but there's a vague tiny part of me that was like, did Don Jose get shunted into that as like the captain for this jewel heist, basically?
Not for the jewel heist. He was shunted in as the captain for the original expedition mission.
That's what I was thinking about. Yeah.
For trade and exploration.
So, is there anyone that would like to... anyone out of you guys who would initially like to put themselves forward for the adventure?
Well...
what specifically are we going after? Sorry?
It's a galleon that is coming back from the New World, purportedly with plunder, gems.
I think gemstones, yeah. Or not sure if cut or uncut.
Probably uncut.
I think he'd go along. Like, he's been on the island for a while. He'd probably be getting stir crazy about now.
Yeah.
They want to get back on a ship.
Is that go along on the venture, or is that lead the adventure, as in captain the ship?
Go along on the adventure.
Okay.
Like, the point is probably that Don Jose thinks this is a great opportunity, but is kind of willing to see... I think that merely sending a ship forward might not be enough. So that's kind of... I want to see if we can brainstorm some actual overall plan, rather than just sending a ship forward. Like, and actually contemplate if we think we have the strength. I mean, we don't know how strong are the Guardian ships, so it's still a guess.
In that case, I think probably Farlon would say, from what the information we were given, we were told that there was going to be 1 or 2 escort ships, and they would not be too big. Yes.
Well, from what you have told us, Mr. Farland, that is what you were told.
Then as the ships are coming down this way, for a start, we could keep an eye out to see if they pass close by us. But if we see that they are a couple of frigates, a couple of even a man of war, even a bark maybe, then we can say that would be too much for us to try and take, at least honestly. And we could just scrap it and set our sights on somewhere else. However, if it's a couple of catches, if it's a sloop and a catch or something like that, I think we have the ability probably to take them on, don't you think?
I do believe you could be correct, but my expertise in naval warfare is minimal compared to Mr. Skelton and Mr. Jose's expertise.
I would generally agree that yes, something like 2 catches we should be able to just outgun, and we can be unless we load ourselves full of crew, we should be even faster than them. We are reasonably fast on the boat. Yes, but that we can only probably see after we engage them, unless we manage to somehow spy them before they get here.
And Skelton kind of leans forward a little bit and says, what if we were able to catch one of the ships by itself a little bit, to say, and I'm wondering what the viability would be of us going straight for a board in action on if they do have, say, a sloop or a ketch or something smaller. If we load up with men, if all of us go out for this outing, then maybe someone like Bowden could lead a boarding action, take the ship, and then we would have 2 ships against 2. What do you think?
I'm not sure if the ship wouldn't be too damaged in the fight to actually assist us, but it's certainly an option, and I think boarding will be needed.
Yeah. Well, that was why I was saying we could go straight for the board. I don't know, maybe if the weather is bad, or maybe if we go out at night, we could get closer to them if we spot them during the day. It's just a possibility. And he kind of like looks around at the rest of the...
I'm not entirely opposed to the idea. We would need to plan carefully who we bring along, what supplies and munitions we bring along.
I think more ships is something we need to truly think about, as I personally think we're not here yet, but we should have a dedicated ship for smuggling and trading, not that does not participate in piracy.
I think an equally important thing to consider is making sure we all have an agreed upon line past which we retreat if things are getting too bad. If we have a moment where half the crew wants to continue fighting and half the crew doesn't, that could prove fatal for us if things go badly.
And there's a general kind of like murmuring consent over those points. I mean, we're going to have problems. If they do have any type of big ship, right? So. Maybe the best thing to do would be to. I was thinking, we could maybe scout out, like see even before it gets to that Vidachi port, and see what's going to be coming down, and then we can kind of sweep back here and make a plan after we've seen. But the problem is like it's not going to give us that much time. We really need a couple of smaller, faster ships as well. Like, don't get me wrong, I like our ship and she is fast, but a couple more wouldn't be amiss, ones we could use for actual scouting, actually finding out where the ships are.
It might behoove us to try to make contact with a shipwright or two. Somebody that could potentially be persuaded to come to this island and build smaller ships for us.
We would need docking for that.
We would.
Which we do not have yet.
We need a dry dock, and
true.
This little bay here isn't bad for parking in, but for anything else past that, it's not really doesn't really work that well.
Out of character, would this spot here between the two islands, be a good dry dock area?
It's probably the best spot, really.
Hmm.
Although, with clearing and with work, you could probably make anywhere along the island pretty much.
Yeah. Well, he'll point to the area between the islands and just say, we could put the dry dock here.
Yeah, it's either becomes a dry dock or it accidentally becomes a channel. If you mess up building the dry dock, you'd basically block off that entire area.
Which might not be a terrible thing.
No, probably not.
The second island could also prove as a nice place to build suitable housing for the people building the ships at the dry dock.
You could also turn that small island into a small fort. Advanced.
Also possible.
Advanced warning's never bad.
Yes. Speaking of advanced warning, I was thinking of having a watchtower built at the top of the hill here, and he'll point to the map. Here, tall enough to see further out into the horizon from all directions. If we have at least 2 people on the tower at all times, each taking shifts, then we can have a permanent watch over the entire island and the surrounding sea.
Out of character. Are we pirates or are we building a military force?
Yes.
Yes.
What is piracy except a military force that does not belong to any one nation?
Fair.
It's fair.
By the way, I do like the watchtower idea.
Yeah.
I just find it funny how it's building.
It's just I'm looking at this and I guess my brain's kind of going, so Civ 5, right? So let's conquer everyone.
I mean, this has always been a colony builder to me.
But I think if we're looking for shipwrights and stuff, Vespins obviously have merchant ships as well as quick ships for obvious reasons. We used to be raiders after all.
I still do not
It may
comprehend
behoove us to
why can't
go
we just
for.
buy ships? We do not have to build them ourselves.
I'm not saying we can't. It just takes a lot of coin, and then you have people asking where you got all that coin.
Not only that, it leaves a paper trail. These people bought this ship from here. They now know what kind of ships we possess, what armaments we possess, what defenses we possess.
Not.
If we
That's
built
not necessarily true, gentlemen. Papers can be lost, and depending on who we buy a ship from, it will cost more coin, but there's
Get
no
Get rid of
reason.
all details about the ship.
we could
AKA,
also
we've never bought this ship. What are you talking about?
Well,
But I do believe a dry dock would be useful in repairing ships, at least.
yeah. Also, it is worth considering that while you could say there's a expensive and paper trail, etc., I feel like if you have the multiple shipwrights suddenly packing up and disappearing, people will be asking where they go, especially if they are good ones, which is what we would probably be getting.
it's a valid point.
Also, the effort put in to be getting setting up the dry dock and then setting up the shipwrights, and quite a few shipwrights if we're going to be building ships of any type of import or stature, probably would cost us more. I would say also if we are engaging in legitimacy and asking to buy or to build ships, then making it very clear that we will be repeat business would allow for a certain amount of discretion and privacy in terms of those types of things, you know?
All valid points.
But I would say that for the moment, it would be better to... it would be much better to take the ships, yes? Obviously, we would try not to damage them too much in the taking, but if we can get 3 or 4 ships total, maybe get some more crew, then we would have enough for situations like this.
And if the ship is damaged too much, we could always dismantle as much as we could and sell the scrap. Like
We could also
any
turn a
and
damaged
any
ship.
salvageable lumber and iron and so on, basically. Sorry. Need to interrupt.
We could also turn any ship that's too damaged into a firebomb and set it against the Avalonians or the Castilians.
I feel like that might be
Maybe a little too much provocation.
a little too high profile for what we are currently thinking, although it is a good possibility. If ever we find ourselves back against the wall, as this place is found and is surrounded or anything like that, a couple of fire ships would not go amiss.
And I would like to thank my homeland one day for the knife in the back. No, wait, you wouldn't say that because they don't know. In that case, no, sorry, you won't say anything because they don't know that. I'll shut up.
That is fair. Everyone suddenly goes, what?
Dun dun dun. No, he said nothing.
Well, I believe that we have a good week or so until at least the ship will be coming down this way regardless. So, if we say that for this venture, we all think, aside from needing a captain, we're all going to be going out on it. In that case, I think I'll put myself forward for being captain on this venture, seeing as I have quite a lot of experiences, at least a second.
Works for me.
I have no problem with that.
So be it.
I would say, Bowden, are you there at the meeting? I'm assuming yes.
Yes, I am there.
I would say then, if Mr. Bowden would be willing to prepare his lads for a hard fight, obviously, we would not be able to damage a targeted ship too much if we were going to board it and take it for the fight. I think
I'll have them prepared, and they'll be blooded by the end of the day.
you've got a week, no rush.
I was referring to the day of the fight.
Ah, of course.
Mhm.
And my thought is, and he kind of looks with like one eye slightly closed, like looks askance at Tristane, and then kind of shakes his head and says, for captain in the other ship, my thought would be Don Jose. You could be a good choice if you're willing, sir.
Naturally, I want to be present at the operation.
Would you be willing to lead the boarding with Mr. Bowden and take over as second captain on the second ship, if we do take it?
Let's say yes, with the condition that we still have the option of calling off the attack if we deem the situation too dangerous. But of course, should we board, yes, I will take part.
Aye. Alright then. For now, there's a lot to do around the island. I think we've got a solid enough plan, at least to be going along with. Of course, if they turn up with an entire fleet or some ships that we just feel we aren't really able to deal with, then we'll step back, let them go past, and keep our eyes out for something else.
One part for the planned naval battle that I would want to propose is to attack them at night to slightly disrupt their formation, and for that I would propose we hold a nightly sailing drill to see if the ship and its crew can actually operate at night with their lights dimmed so as not to be visible.
Aye, that makes sense. Okay. Does anyone else have other things they'd like to bring up or add?
Don't think so.
Okay.
I do think we should start thinking about expanding the garden, or the farm, as soon as possible, which means raiding any of the ships carrying produce that we could use to seed our own resource management.
I believe I believe that when I was in the Vadachi port, there was some talk of a fairly large call it a plantation, a farm, a venture being put up by the Montaigne. They were looking to start farming properly from where they are, you know, full fields and everything. Apparently they have some nice, fairly fertile soil on their island, so there's a possibility. We would have to investigate a little bit more to know for sure, but they might be bringing in or taking away produce to send back to the old world.
Then I think after this target, we might want to do a trading expedition where we pick up a contract to drop things off to the Montaigne.
I'm not too familiar with them, but I think we could.
I have had some dealings in the old world with them. I don't think we ever actually visited their ports while the old captain was leading us, but I could head up this one.
Okay, and yes. Well, we will. We could even ask around at a couple of the other. I don't know how much we could find out, but we could ask around at the very least at the Western. What the hell was the name of it? Yes. We could ask around at Keeler and see. Obviously, they would be having the Montaigne ships coming through as well, so it's a good place to gather information about that type of thing.
Yes, it would be.
Right. In that case, we should try and see what we can do around the island. As Mr. Skelton said, it is always a lot to do around here.
Of course.
All right. So, gentlemen, you have a week. What would you like to be getting along with?
How much black powder do we have? Do we have enough of a reserve that I wouldn't feel bad starting training my own marksman company among those who seem to have an eye for shooting?
A company would probably be a little bit.
Yeah, squad then.
Okay. You've got 4 combats worth of powder. I would say training up a squad for would probably use. I'm having difficulties because I'm like, I don't think it would use up a combat worth because that's counting like cannon, that's counting everyone's pistols and stuff like that.
If you manage to use a combat's worth of gunpowder on a squad, I would be impressed.
How much is a squad?
I'm thinking squad's maybe like 5 people at most.
I was hoping about 8, including myself in that.
Yeah, I'd say 5 to 10 would probably be a squad. So, Okay. Could you please? Let's have a look here. So this would be either Wits or Panache. and I would say either aim or probably perform. Those are the ones that speak to me the most there.
Yeah, well, if we're not building, this is my perform.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with aim. Does my sniper advantage count in this?
I would say yes.
Okay.
And
So I am gonna do panache, aim +1, unless you want to give me any more.
no, I think that makes sense.
No penalties, just 1 bonus.
Okay.
That's a 23.
All right. What I will say
Mm-hmm.
is they are not ready
Yeah.
unless you use a combat's worth of powder.
I am not doing that. We only have
Yes.
4 combats worth of powder, and we don't have a legitimate way to get more without hoping that we don't spend as much powder during a combat.
Yeah. No, that's fair. It's essentially the roll wasn't terrible. There was a lot of 2s. The roll wasn't
Yeah.
the roll wasn't terrible, but it's not enough to in a week to train up or to finish. You know, like 2-turn. Just
I can't turn them into marksmen. Can I get them to the point where I could do volley fire with them?
I would say yes, but that would mean that you're not focusing on turning them into marksmen.
Then
So,
no, I don't want to do that.
yeah, no, it's kind of like essentially what it means is you'll just need a bit more time. You know, they're
Mhm.
getting there. There will be a group of people on the ship who can shoot a little better, but they're not.
Okay.
They won't have a organized effect on a ship battle, yet.
Okay.
Also, it is worth mentioning because this is, going on for a week or so. Around the 3rd day, I would say, maybe 4th day, as you're doing on the island, one of the days actually none of you really get much done at all. Partially because you are like tying down the ship and tying down some of your tents and etc. A fairly, I'm not going to say intense, but a fairly long, quite heavy storm passes by. Rolls over the island. Lots of rain, lots of wind. Nothing too dangerous, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But you're glad you're not out on the open sea on that day. So the rest of you, got anything you're wanting to get running?
Yeah, I
Um,
want to run the ship drill.
Yes. Quick look here.
I would like to approach Bowden and offer to join his boarding party for this.
Okay.
Sure. I was planning on running them through drills anyway. With Jose running a ship drill as well, it might be a good opportunity to get them some boarding experience anyway.
So for Don Jose, that will be, I think, Panache is kind of the charisma. You know what? I like giving choice. I would say wits or panache and sailing. You get a.
I would propose also baby warfare, but sailing is better for me. Let's put it that way.
I would accept warfare. You also get a bonus dice for your leadership. You get a bonus dice for your officer in training. Just because, you know.
Okay, who else is like on the ship? Like I assume Skeleton will be at least present.
Yeah.
And I would also want someone from the boarding parties to at least be present when we are trying to like get the boarding boats down ready to actually, if we can even throw properly the boarding hooks at night, like in the dark. That's not funny.
Yeah, Bowden will be there.
All right, so let's go panache and sailing because that's the easiest for me.
With
Lockbox would also be there if he wasn't cooking.
Matthias will be there. Matthias would also have taken note of the date of the storm, how long it lasted, and stuff, because he's keeping track of that stuff.
Oh fuck me! Yeah, this is.
If I had the time, I'd be on the training
I mean,
too.
technically, I could probably reroll one of the ones because I have 3 points in sailing.
You do? Did you add in the 2 extra dice for leadership?
No, just one.
Okay. Yeah, if you'd like,
You should.
feel free to reroll a 1.
Fuck, if I don't remember how to. It's an improvement.
I mean, it goes from 39 to a 43.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you got 2 10s. Pretty good. So yeah, it's essentially.
I mean, this is a test if it is worth it for us to try fighting
Yeah.
at dark.
Yeah, I would say it's not guaranteed. You know, it's not a safe bet. However, over the time, it's possibly a benefit that you guys have been, you know, on the ship, using the ship. Like, a lot of the sailors have gotten pretty used to this ship at this point. So with the training at night, it gets them kind of used to where everything is, and there's a few instances where someone will trip over something, make a crap ton of noise, or just completely mess up the especially at the beginning. One of the core problems was like getting the grapples off. That was fixed by you know what? I'm gonna say in this instance, the person who I think would probably fix it, and feel free to say you don't think so or anything, would probably be actually weirdly Bowden. Where as they're throwing the grapples, the idea is put forth to have some essentially some like very basic kind of flame on just behind the. I don't know what the part of the deck, the part of the ship is called, but it's, you know, like where you put the cannons in the side, and it kind of comes up. Boarding? No, I don't know.
I'm just gonna call them the windows.
Well, they're not even the windows. It's just the side of the ship. You know, the.
Oh yeah.
It comes up.
You mean portholes or the sides?
The sides.
Port
yeah.
or aft.
Yeah. Essentially, you've got the deck of the ship.
The gunwale.
The gunwale, sure. I don't.
No, that's what it is. I googled it.
I don't think that's what I'm talking about.
The elevated side edges of a boat with strengthen its structure and act as a railing around the gun deck. In warships, the gunwale has opening where heavy arms or guns are positioned. Might be it? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, very possibly. Yeah.
Oh, no, here it's saying broadside.
I think broadside.
Mm.
Fuck it, the sides of a ship, the bit that comes up.
Yeah.
Essentially, you are able to to cover small kind of camped wicks or anything, and then quickly while you're get just about to do the grapple, be able to kind of just like attach them to the metal part of the grappling hooks and throw them. It helps with the aim and everything, and it'll work decently just purely because at the point of where you're grappling, it's not gonna matter if they notice you because
At that point, they will probably see us by that time.
yes, most likely.
It's like launching a flaming arrow, just with less tar and pitch.
Yeah. And it's not designed to set the boat on fire.
Not saying that it won't, but it's not designed to.
Yeah. Alright.
Like, the idea is really that when we will be doing this for real, then we won't have as bad penalty. Hopefully.
No, I'd say given the training and everything, the penalty will probably be fairly minimum.
But other than that, Godin's just going to be drilling his guys because there's a fight coming. They need to be in proper ship shape.
Right. I would say brawn and probably weaponry would be the role for drilling your guys. You can get a bonus dice for Academy. I'm not sure you get a bonus dice for Bruiser.
I'd get bonus dice for Bruiser if I felt like I was making a squad of people only using two-handed weapons somehow.
Yeah, if it was a bit more specific to like combat. But
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not that specialized yet.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you when I'm starting to lead regiments like some sort of weird warlord.
Like, just roll on 5 years, he's gonna have his own berserker regiment.
Imagine we fast forward like 5 or 6 sessions or so, and we're having like full line regiment battles, and it's on like the mainland of the New World, and damn, you didn't want
This land is our land.
You don't want to roll
Apron
below a
boards?
6, I guess.
I could re-roll it. I don't know if it has the rule of. It'd be funny.
Yeah, no, that's and I'll actually take that success along with the night training to say that you make such good progress with your lads that you feel after probably like 4 days or so, it's just not really needed to train more for the actual boarding. And you decide to integrate the night training and the grappling training together.
GP, should I have rolled anything since I'm part of Bowden's boarding party this time?
I would say as an individual, probably not, unless you're helping with the instruction.
I don't know if I'd do that since it's Bowden's group.
Yeah. What essentially, as opposed to rolling to see like how well the group does, you just benefit from the good rolls that Bowden did. So when you're rolling a bit later, you'll be at an advantage, let's say.
I'm just amused by the fact that it rolled in like a sequential order almost.
Yeah.
It'd have only been better if it had been like 10, 9, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6.
So you have essentially, with the extra time you have and the and everything, you actually get your lads, including Lockbox and everyone else, to used to the grappling at night and just the grappling in general. So it's going to take away the negatives to the grapple. The sailing at night will still be a little bit of a difficulty, but you are drilled enough that you're pretty confident, at least, of having a fair chance of getting the grapple off, as long as nothing else goes wrong.
Not really.
Cue everything going wrong.
I mean, it's very possible, right?
The best laid plans.
Yes.
For the first time ever, the sheepy dice affect us.
Hey, just don't make me roll too much. The dice gods are against me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that feels.
I'm
So,
half tempted to reroll the 6 just to see what I would have gotten.
Do it.
Yeah, sure.
Tempt the fates.
No, it still would have been above a 50.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have changed much. Anyway. Yeah, other than training those guys on boarding procedures and stuff, I don't have long enough to start drilling them on fighting as well, so I think that's my week.
And I would say it seems so far that essentially progress on the island is minimal, just because you're all training for this call it what was I gonna say, call it a confrontation, call it a venture.
It's a side quest, it's a combat mission.
Yeah, it's not really a side quest, I would say.
It's a story quest, but it's a combat mission.
Yeah. So has anyone been left out of this so far? Matthias? I guess you would just be part of the training.
Yeah, like he's just doing the training. There's not really much else for him to do.
Yeah. And Hal? Training?
Yeah, if I have time, I'd join the night training too, but I'm training my guys, so I don't know if you'd say I'd have time for that.
Yeah. I would say that you're not heavily involved, but you can probably make a couple of sessions at least, get the gist of things.
It's really, I don't board, so it's really what they want me doing while the boarding action's happening.
Yeah. I think for now, Skelton will say, Mr. Gilligan, while our lads are boarding and manoeuvring and doing all the night sailing, it could probably behoove you to have you and your lads up in the rigging or up in the nest, just taking a shot at anyone who might be quick-witted enough to try and start cutting the grapples.
I could certainly direct them to do that. I will determine whether my men will be capable of such actions at the end of the week.
And then he kind of like spins around and starts shouting, "Alright, you." My brain's searching for a word and all I can think of is landlubbers. Get back to work.
Yellow-bellied liver,
Lollygaggers.
lily liver, lollygagging
Scallywags.
fuckwits.
Layabouts. Okay. In that case, time passes. And training is done. I will say that, in the little bit of downtime and so on and so forth, I think there's enough time for everyone in general to work on a project a bit. Just having a look at the projects here. Would you like to continue? I think the one that makes the most sense would be like clearing some land, if you want to.
Have we got shearing clippers yet?
Uh,
We've been to the Veston ports a couple times. Because I forgot
right.
as a player to specify I bought those.
So, shearing clippers would probably be common items,
Okay.
of which you have 25. Essentially, it's pretty much impossible to always remember all of the time to get everything you need. You know, like speaking from personal experience, I know that when I go shopping, I walk into the store thinking, okay, bleach, and then I do my shopping, I walk out of the store, I go home, and the second I put the key in my front door, I go, I forgot the bleach.
Yep.
I've certainly never done anything like that.
Yeah. So the way the supplies and everything work is you will go out and you will either raid and get maybe a few specific things, you know, like the oven from the ship's wall or the grindstone. But in general, what you're going to get is you're going to get common items, specialist items, stuff like that, and you can redeem those uses for specific things that you'll need.
Basically, if you are going out to buy binoculars, you might have bought shears instead.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you go out to buy specifically binoculars, you can still do that. So you can be like, oh yeah, I want to get some binoculars, and then you get binoculars and you pay for them.
So how are the sheep doing then? Because you said they were right at the point where they needed to be sheared.
Yeah, close to, or close
Okay.
to, yeah.
Are they close to, or are they overheating? I need to take care of these sheep.
I'd say close to.
Okay, so they don't need to be sheared. Then yeah, I'd help with clearing.
Okay.
Lockbox is gonna finish off his smokehouse.
Yeah, Don Jose will also assist on clearing.
Okay. I would say you don't have the time to finish a project individually. This is essentially like, in the spare time you have, I feel like there's enough for a project of some kind. But it would be people finding like an hour here or there before they go to sleep or in the morning, etc.
And I will work on it sparingly.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to say add in 4 wood into the wood storage.
Okay, so we have 18 now.
Where is it?
I just added in 4.
Oh, yes. And there's probably 2 more rows for the farm. So,
Okay, so we have 12 rows now.
okay.
By the way, feel free to ask Bowden to help.
I know I'm drilling someone right now, but I can't be drilling 24/7.
It's like, Bowden, can you help? He's like, nah, I'm drilling someone.
Maybe.
Is,
Hey,
is,
Sheepy.
Mm-hmm.
is it
Maybe not like that.
Ah,
is
But,
it but is it consensual drilling?
who knows? Pirates are
No,
weird,
man.
No. But no. Bowden is training, and then whenever he's not training, he's probably just... Well, he can't really construct anything. He can at least...
Pick up material and bring it to a place.
Yeah.
Odin, you must construct additional pylons.
The
Honestly,
fuck's a pylon?
the assumption I have here is that everyone is doing in their downtime helping out a little bit, whether it be carrying or whatever. So
Fair enough.
I'm just letting people know that I'm available in case there's something specifically you need Bowden to do.
yeah.
How's Batman doing?
Ah, man.
Yeah, Batman.
Who's that?
The
Some
only
sheep.
the only sheep that I will not allow to be slaughtered for food.
Oh, okay, he's dead.
No!
I'm joking.
We only have 11 sheep now.
No.
Shit.
You're good. I would say, like, you're probably going to want to shear the sheep reasonably soon.
Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't got to the point where they are, call it, overgrown. They're more kind of like, yeah, they would yield good currently, but they're not past the point of well, the ridiculous sheep that was in the chat.
No.
They're not there yet.
Okay.
Okay, so out of character, as in, like, you know, like meta chat here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
The current plan is for you to load up with basically everyone onto the ship with the full max 12 cannons you can, and to go out in search during the day once you have sighted the ship, to essentially like, I'm gonna put this in inverted commas, like, act like you're on the same shipping lane, kind of, just at a long distance until the sun goes down, and then do a hard tack and go at, as long as you feel comfortable with the situation, as in, like, you know, it's not going to be attacking a man of war or something. You're going to head in after it's dark and try and hit one of the escort ships with a boarding action, take it over, and then use both of those ships to take out the other escort ships and also the galleon that's carrying the jewels and etc.
So do we have enough men to board 2 ships?
Let's have a look here. It depends on the ships as well, keep in mind. So the Lucine is a catch, I believe, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So 2 sails, 12 cannon. You generally, to keep it fairly operational, you want like 30 to 50 sailors. If you have another catch that you're boarding, then that's gonna have to take your crew down to about by about 30 at least, maybe 20. But you're not gonna be amazing in a fight with 20. And then if there was another catch, that would be another 30 to 20.
I would be perfectly willing to just, when board the other ship, to just disable it and move on.
Yeah, you could do. But keep in mind, after the first encounter, you're going to have problems with them probably being aware that you're there now. So you're going to be taking more
casualties, yeah. Or they will try to avoid us.
Try to avoid you, and also you're going to be taking more shots from the cannon. Could more damage to your ships. It may not be it may be more effective just to cannon the shit out of them, and yeah. So
What I'm asking is, because we're not trying to sink the treasure ship, we want to get the stuff off of it.
Yeah.
Do we have enough people to not to take it as a prize, but to take it long enough to loot it?
Right. Okay. So you're not asking whether you can take 2 of the like, depending on how many escort ships there are. You're not asking if you have the ability to take and sail multiple ships to take the galleon. You're asking if you can take a ship and then still be able to take the galleon.
Yeah.
I would say you may want to go for the sails to on the galleon to cripple it.
Yeah, slow it down.
In terms of a boarding action, you'll still have the same number of crew. You'll just, have it on 2 different ships. You should be fine. You would still have a good 50 crew on the Lucine. That's enough for a boarding action.
Okay.
Like, my assumption is more like once we take out their escorts, they will have to kind of surrender because we will be probably faster than them and we have more crew and more cannons than them. Like, I assume it's a merchantman and the galleon will not be particularly armed.
Yeah, no. As far as you guys know, it's not heavily. What's the best way to say this? Like, there aren't a whole load of combat people on the galleon because it's laden with jewels and shits, basically. So. Question as well, because I can't fully remember at this point. I believe there was an agreement with the Vidachi to for like a finder's fee, basically, right?
Yeah, they will get their cut.
Okay.
Did they say they wanted that in the product or after we sell the product?
I believe they offered to buy the jewels to essentially to take the booty that you claim. They're willing to essentially paid, you know, like trade for that.
Mhm.
But obviously take a bonus cut for themselves as well.
Yeah.
Because they're, you know, they're the ones who turned you onto it.
Yeah. Okay.
My guess would be is if you decide to take it somewhere else and sell somewhere else, they'll just expect a cut of the profits.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I think we'll have a little bit of a slide cut. Probably all of you running drills in the night and just preparing and everything. And cut to... I don't want to... I don't want to cut too far in case anyone wants to do anything. So what I'll say is, my intention is to cut to you already in the sea, heading towards the general area where the ships should be.
And the ship's already on fire. Everything's fucked. Sorry.
Yeah. We looted it. We burnt it down. It's great.
It's time
Oh no, I was referring to our ship.
It's time to get
Oh.
back to you grab the gems, you grab the treasure, you all high five. It's time to get back to Civ 5, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
None of
Time
this-
for
none of-
quality building.
None of this combat bullshit. It's back to the fucking mappies.
It's back to the grand strategy.
Yeah. No. My intention would be to essentially cut in after the initial sighting of the convoy. But obviously, as I said, I don't want to step on anyone's toes and completely cut out things they might want to do. So, open invitation to call in a scene before that point. You know, heading out or anything along those lines.
But I am going to use my ability to give everyone a +1 die to finesse for this adventure.
Plus one die to finesse. Okay, noted.
Right.
Question: do we have anybody on the ship that knows the Vestin religious rituals?
Besides me?
Well, do you know all of the rituals, Bowden?
All of them, probably not. Most of the warrior ones, and probably a couple shamanic ones, yes.
Well, then we probably should have one of those rituals before we go into battle.
Just in case a deity somewhere suddenly gives a shit.
Like in that event, Don Jose will extraordinarily abstain. He's a Beticene and he will actually pray before the battle. But he can probably do it also on the ship itself.
I guess I'll do a typical... At the request of Mr. Gilligan, I'll do a typical warrior ritual. Which is mostly just speech followed by everyone drinking, probably alcohol. I don't know. Me personally, I do not know what the rituals are.
Matthias would just like say a prayer.
So you would gather your Vestin brothers around and burn some hallucinogenic herb. There is a bit of drinking, but we make a sacrifice to the gods and the ancestors.
Because the one thing you want to do before boarding an enemy ship in the middle of the night is take a hallucinogenic.
Absolutely.
We would probably do this before we set sail, but I just want to put it out there that the ritual was done.
We just start boarding a ship that isn't even there.
Damn, I swear I had a good song for this, but I can't remember.
Okay, while Sheepy's looking for the good song, earlier on when Sheepy was talking in character about boarding actions, I was thinking every time he says that, like I just imagine like a text dialogue box, and all the text is white, but every time it says boarding action, the text is like highlighted yellow or something because it's an action. I don't know. It just feels very video gamey. The way you keep saying boarding action. We're going to perform a boarding action.
Yeah.
Well, we are gonna perform a boarding action.
I know. It just feels kind of a video gamey thing, a way to phrase it, I guess.
I just realized that as I was searching through the music, it has like XYZ person like cast name and then rider or dragon and stuff like that. So technically speaking, spoilers in this
I'm sick and tired of these motherfucking spoilers on this motherfucking plane.
You mean boat?
Yeah, that.
What is this? What is this plane you're speaking of?
Don't know. But
So yeah, just to let you know that during this session, Sheepy just spoiled Dragon Riders cast season 3. So
Mm-hmm.
there you go.
oh my god.
If you plumb through this episode when I put it up, because I think I still have to put up the last session as well, if my brain.
Yes, you do.
Correctly. I'll probably do both of them tomorrow, but I may need reminding because.
Oh, I got your back.
Thank you.
Oh my god, the cast member name for this song is redacted.
Every time I get up at the moment and like stumble into my office, I always sit down, immediately open Premiere Pro, and I'm like editing and slamming music in there and etc. So my brain doesn't engage with like, what else do I have to do? It's just like edit time.
Yeah.
But yes.
Sheepy's family's like, we haven't seen you in 6 months. What have you been doing? Editing. What have you been doing in your free time? Free time? What is free time?
Hey, they saw me recently. They're fine. Okay.
They just do a welfare check every couple of months. Just send food packages.
Yeah. Alright. Oh, yeah. And then that's gonna be... in that case... Good.
I'm sad I don't have my drinking buddy with me tonight.
Aww.
Fucking Brooks. You won't even come here to help me with the drinking?
Well, seeing as you don't have anyone to share a drink with, you should commiserate by planting that mint in the ground.
Absolutely the fuck not. You get the fuck out of here.
Try smoking the mint, see how that does you.
Don't worry, I'll plant the mint when no one's looking.
How are you
That's
doing
the
there,
only-
Mr. Gilligan? You having a drink tonight?
Yes, Mr. Tristane.
Ah, well, I think I'm about 3 cups ahead of you, but you know, I'm sure you will catch up.
Of course, Mr. Tristane.
That was a very dramatic end to the music, for like a very undramatic conversation.
Of course, Tristane.
Alright, so. I don't know who'd be up. I'm gonna say generic crewmate number 271, even though there's only like 87 of you, I believe.
Yeah.
It essentially calls out ship sighted as it's a fairly clear day, fairly nice day. And the activity around the boat picks up just a little bit before before Captain Skelton says, lads, don't get excited now. We don't want them thinking anything untoward is going on if they sight us or if they espy us through one of their glasses.
Like I will try to like usher people below the deck so that it looks also we only have minimal crew, and also I assume guns are covered so that their muzzles do not shine.
Yeah. Keep everything calm and tack very slightly so we aren't headed in their direction. It seems like we're just heading southeast as well. And you know, the people who are on the deck, who are kind of the presenting sailors, let's call them. Yeah, there's a little bit of attack. You had already you were already heading in a fairly easterly direction, just purely because you know you don't really want to be. Have you ever run into someone who's like heading straight past you and then they just turn around and keep heading in the same direction as you? Like that's suspicious as fuck. Like you're just gonna be like, why is this person now following me? So, I have some good news, which is there is only one escort. It is a sloop.
Oh, they are
What's
so
the
fucked.
treasure ship?
Huh?
What is the treasure ship?
It is a galleon. So,
Can I roughly count the number of crew that is visible on the galleon?
not from here, no. You, like, essentially, you can, with a spyglass or something, you can kind of see, like, just, I'll say it like this. You are on the periphery of the horizon at this point. You are just about in vision, so you can tell that there are a ship or two in the distance. The point of what you're currently doing is you are...
Sorry. Ignore that.
Okay.
Click the wrong thing.
Matthias is just basically like, is there anything shiny on there? Shinies?
Shiny? Mine?
No, essentially what you're currently doing is you are seemingly heading in the same direction, but you are a fairly long distance away from them. Otherwise, they're either going to be like just the fact that you're in the vicinity is going to put them on guard to a degree. But keeping a distance like this will seem much more like you are also a ship headed, you know, like transporting something or headed in the direction of the Eisen port or the Western port, or possibly even past, heading back to the old world. It's getting closer would be more suspicious.
Yeah,
So-
this is fine.
If you'd like to, I think Skelton would have something to say about it, but it is possible if you'd like to get a look at like their numbers and stuff. For now,
Can,
they're too far away.
can I try? Can I try that with my eagle eyes? Because I can see out to a distance of 1 mile, and
Yeah.
with a spyglass, I have really good vision.
Right, but it's not a case of having good vision. It's a case of being at such a distance that you can see the ships. The ships are kind of blobs themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I assume that even I have eagle eye, but for now it only allows us to get the category and size of the ship.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yes. As I said, if you want, you can try and get closer, but that will be suspicious and maybe a problem.
Well, I mean, Skeleton's the captain. What does the captain say?
The captain says, keep your heads down and maintain course until the lights dim.
And he does as he's told, because he's a good boy and he would never disobey the captain.
Stab in the back does not mean disobey.
Just sitting at the front, waiting.
I prefer to stab in the front.
Yeah.
I am in the kitchen, making breakfast or lunch.
Someone's in the kitchen with timer. Someone's in the kitchen, I know who. Alright. So this kind of proceeds like there the two ships, it's hard to tell exactly. There is, you know what, I will allow, it's not going to give you much, but I will allow a roll if one of you wants to do a bit of like spyglassing.
Sure.
So that would be wits and notice. Bonus dice for eagle eye.
Bonus dice if you want for my food for finesse.
But it's wits and notice.
Sorry, I didn't hear that correctly.
No problem. For a second there, I was like, did I say finesse? Oh no. Okay. 35, yeah, not bad roll. So it's difficult to you can't pick out individuals. You can't really tell how many people there are. You can see slightly increased activity, and you can see on the you can see on the galleon an additional smaller sail unfold, and there's a slight there's a slight kind of like like call it an increase in speed, right? The problem is that when that happens, the sloop starts to fall behind a little bit. It's a little bit out of place, or out of position maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it's not super noticeable in terms of like.
What do you mean fall behind? You mean it gets closer to us or it's pulling away from us?
It falls behind the galleon, essentially.
So
the sloop is faster. The galleon has more sails. When it unfurls, all of its sails, it's able to move a little bit faster. The sloop isn't able to unfurl more sails. So.
Okay then. Matthias will pass this along to the captain.
They're probably just hoping to move ahead of us a fair ways, but I don't think that's going to make too much of a difference. We'll stay the course, and hopefully they won't be close enough to notice if and when we take the sloop. And then he kind of turns to the just general crew and says, I'm not sure whether they started with just one escort ship or whether something happened on the way here, but it seems like they only have the one escort ship looking after this galleon. Therefore, while I think we could go straight for the galleon, I think the plan we had is sound. Once night falls, and Sheepy has switched to his normal voice because his throat's hurting a little bit, but it's fine. There we go. Once night falls, we move in for the sloop. We grapple, we take it, and then we both start chasing the galleon and engage it when the sun comes up.
By the time we take the sloop, we may also open fire with the main guns just to slow down the masts, if we can.
For the sloop?
For the galleon, like I assume we want to slow down the galleon.
Yes.
Unless we want to take it potentially unharmed. I'm not sure if they can outrun us. I don't think so.
They wouldn't be able to outrun you, most likely. They may be able to keep distance on the sloop. But, yeah. Is there anyone here who would like to suggest we abandon the plan?
I'm a little curious and concerned what's happened to the second escort. Could be
Well-
that they've already been attacked and boarded by another group of pirates, in which case we might be making enemies out here if we attack them.
Could I get a wits sailing from anyone who would like for anyone who would like to, and the other one would be a wits. Sorry, I'll say wits. Yeah, no, sorry, it is wits sailing. The other one would be a wits scholarship or a wits empathy. Weirdly.
I'll do a wits empathy.
Okay.
I can do a wit scholarship.
Okay.
I am bad at all of this.
That is a 30. I will be re-rolling one of my ones.
Okay.
Did it not roll?
So that is a
Weird.
36.
Okay.
Weird. I'll try that again. Didn't.
Bowden, what are you doing trying to think?
Hallucinogenics.
Don Jose, if you'd like, I think you'd be pretty decent at the wit sailing, but we've already got a pretty decent roll from Lockbox, so down to you.
Yeah, sure, I'll roll.
It did roll the first time I clicked. It's just I got the exact same roll pretty much. So
I just know today is no rolling day.
No rolling day.
I got 35.
I like how of all the options you gave me, Sheepy, they would have all been the same thing.
Okay. Well, this is a thinky thing, you know, but nothing's been hit currently, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go off. So the sailing first. Lockbox, and to a degree, Don Jose. You remember, about 4 days ago or so, quite a heavy storm passed by, and it passed by heading in the vague direction of northwest. This leads you to guess or to believe that it probably passed through or over the area where the ships, where the why can't my brain remember the word? The procession? Yeah. Whatever. Where the fleet, where the ships were going through. It wasn't too bad, but it's an entirely reasonable possibility that if they were taken unawares or to a degree surprised by it, one or some of the ships could have been damaged to the extent that when they got into port, it wasn't viable for the ships to carry on.
Or they were blown off course.
Not necessarily blown off course, more damaged enough that they needed to stay in port to repair.
Yeah, they're not really seaworthy anymore.
Or they just can't keep up with the other ships, in which case there's no point in taking them out. You may as well repair them, try and catch up, or you know, go about your business somewhere else. Matthias, Monsignor Brixton, you you are wait, sorry, I'm just looking at the roles. I need to make sure I'm getting the right. Yes. So you did the scholarship role, and then the empathy role was.
I did empathy. It's a 36.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, the most likely.
I'll be back.
Okay. The most likely thing is that they took one or two, like however many other escort ships, if there were any, stayed back at the port to repair, or you know, just purely because they couldn't follow. The reasoning probably being that they were reasonably confident in the ship being able to catch up. So it's possible, although you know what? You rolled pretty well. You don't think, unless it was fairly light damage, which if it was fairly light damage, it would probably still be able to keep up. Most likely what happened, it lost a sail, or the sails got torn and need to be patched. It's not likely that they're going to show up or catch up for a good few days. So unlikely is pretty heavily unlikely that during the time you guys are going to pull off your operation, that another ship is going to show up, or another few ships are going to show up. If they did have, there is always the possibility that this was the only escort they assigned. You know, like that is still a possibility. But if there were other escorts, these are the reasonings that I can give you.
He'd say that like he's concerned about the missing ship, but it's likely that it got heavily damaged during the storm and probably won't show up, but we should be prepared just in case.
Yeah.
And we should also be prepared for the possibility of more crew than usual on board the ship, because they might, like, some of the crew might have gone along on the other ships.
Possibly.
If the ship was too badly damaged to repair fully. So there might be a greater fighting force than we would otherwise expect.
Yeah.
Okay, empathy.
Empathy. Additionally, for you, Mr. Gilligan, thinking about it, the longer that they stay in a port that is not necessarily super friendly, or at least, you know,
has competing interests in it.
Yes. yeah, it contains other trading companies that, you know, aren't friendly or at the very least would be interested in a
Mhm.
boatload of gems, basically. It allows for information leaks. It allows for time for enemies to prepare. Even though it's more risky leaving behind an escort or 2 escorts or 20 escorts,
Mhm.
if there were escorts, the most understandable mentality that was currently like in operation would be like, it's a risk, but we have to take the risk. Like, we can't sit here. It's much more dangerous for us to sit here with a boatload of gems. We need to keep moving. So most likely the decision they made was any escorts that could have been damaged, stay here, repair. We're going to keep going because even though we're losing some protection, we still have a sloop, and you know, we still have the galleon itself. Just make a shot, make a run for it, basically.
Mhm. My other question, and I would ask this to Mr. Skelton, would it be better to capture the galleon and destroy the sloop as our second ship?
It was said earlier that Galleon is not really good pirating ship.
The galleons tend to be good for transportation. They can handle gear, but they're slow, they're less maneuverable, and unless you're transporting things, you'd probably... The best we could say is if we had some decent shipwrights, if we had a dry dock, we could maybe adapt it and adjust it into something a bit more heavy guns and the like.
Hmm.
And I ask me in a year, once we're more established, once we have more things to transport, even if we are... He kind of stops and he says, if we're thinking about more legitimate transport contracts and doing, picking up that type of thing, then there's some viability in there, sir. But,
I don't think we should rule out legitimate business. There's no harm in it.
Of course not, but my thoughts is a sloop. Bring her into the bay, maybe strip away a few of the guns, see what we can do to make her a bit faster, and we've got a wonderful scout ship there. And I
You
feel...
are the captain. I just felt remiss not bringing up the option.
And Captain, I am of a like mind with the eventual possibility of capturing ships like the Galleon and retrofitting them with a few surprises for any opponents.
I'm not sure if we still have the crew to man both the Galleon and this, so I would probably vote for keeping the sloop for now.
Well,
and we still have the Lucky Lucine the Kelpie to man and repair.
True, but these are plans for further in the future when we have more people, more resources.
I would say for now, we should be looking at the faster, smaller ships, so we can get some... We then have the ability to scout. Hopefully, we can salvage the Lucky Loose. Hopefully, we can salvage the Kelpie, get her up and running to some degree. And then we have a larger ship with big guns. But the thing we are currently lacking is a few smaller ships to go out there and see what they can find, so that the Lucine here can go and pirate them. Essentially, the general feeling among the council, at least, is it's great to have. It would be great to have the Kelpie. Kelpie's still like 50-50 as to whether it's going to need to be just scrapped and abandoned, or whether you can get it back up to functional without needing, like a full rehaul, like proper shipwrights sorting her out. Having some sloops or caravels, less kind of fighty ships and more speedy ships or like scouty ships will allow you guys to do missions like go to the Vidachi or go to the ports and stuff, and essentially do that type of trading, information gathering, scouting, all that type of thing, and then leave the ketch available to defend, to attack, to pirate, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Also, I believe I said galleon. I'm pretty sure I meant galley.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a large galley, and it does have it is bigger than the last one you took out, call it the last thing you pirated. But yeah, sorry, I realize now that I would say galleons are pretty big. They have quite a lot of guns. Like at the very least, that would probably be worth grabbing and selling or something. Just
Yeah, that's why I'm like, do we really want a sloop when we could get a galleon?
Yeah, no, sorry, that's my bad. Also, we've been going a couple of hours, and I quite need a quick break. So, I'm going to just call a 5-minute here. If you guys want to,
Yep, that's fine.
Grab snacks, go to the toilet, or grab a drink, whatever you want. So,
All right.
Yep.
BRB.
There we go. So yeah, that is the likely situation. Just so you know, it is not a guarantee. I am merely explaining an explanation. I am merely giving an explanation as to why there is only one escort. It may have been that there was always one escort, or it may be that there's 50 ships following just off in the horizon somewhere that you can't see, who are all ready to spring into action. But I'm pretty sure I asked whether everyone no one had any problems or complaints or wanted to do the retreat thing because there's too dangerous.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone had anything else to add.
Okay.
Besides,
I am secretly planning on raiding their larder.
All right. In that case, for the next few hours, maybe even a bit more than that, you maintain operations of the ship. Probably a fair number of crew actually stay below decks, and there's probably a couple of poker games going on, or like card games and the like going on just to pass the time. Eventually the sun starts to set, and it begins to get darker. At that point, Skeleton starts issuing orders, starts encouraging a bit more activity. Essentially, the thought is get a vibe of how fast they're going and like where they're headed, and just kind of point in a cutoff direction, So it's like if we go...
Captain, they did not pass the vibe check.
So it's like if you go in this direction for a while, even if you can't see them, you're going to be close to them by the time it's, you know. Also, they are still maintaining their bells. They're still maintaining their the lights on the ship. So when you go dark, which will essentially be when lights are needed, yeah, you're going to be able to see them. They're not going to be able to see you. Okay. See how I want to do this. I think that I'm going to go off the rolls for the training, as opposed to have a generic random roll here to see how it goes. Going off the rolls for the training and everything you guys did to prepare for this, especially like not developing the island much, says to me that there was a focus. So I'm actually gonna say that at the very least the approach goes decently, and you manage to get look at the rolls. Yeah, I think you managed to get close enough that by the time you're noticed, they essentially need to rouse themselves, need to get to action stations. By that time, you're in range to grapple. So, in fact, what's going to happen is once the bell starts to ding, you know, ding, 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 enemy, 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 you are already getting prepared and in a position to lob the grapples and see if you can lock in with this other ship and essentially board it. So, who's a grappling? Who's on the grapple team? I think it's Bowden and
Lockbox?
Lockbox.
Yeah, Don Jose will also need to go overboard. I'm not sure if I have to, like, if there is a less violent and less likely option to like get in once the ships are closer together, because he's not really a good thrower or particularly strong man.
Yeah.
But if like grappling is the only way, then yeah, he will try it.
That will be brawn and athletics. With bonuses for strength mostly. So anything kind of strength related will get you extra dice.
Would my large work?
Yes. I'd also say, I know a few of you have sea legs. I'd also say, like, the sea legs would help just purely because it is not calm. It's not rough waters, but it's rough enough that sea legs would be appropriate.
I did not mean to click that, but I don't think that applies.
Okay.
You said brawn. What again?
That would
Brawn
be
athletics.
brawn athletics.
Okay. Just making sure I clicked the right one. And then, are we still adding a bonus for sea legs, or is it just large?
I'd say bonus for sea legs.
Okay.
Yeah, brawn athletics will not go well for me.
Yes, that is not a Don Jose speciality.
I'll re-roll that one as well.
Okay. Two.
Well, at least it gives me a 40.
Oh yeah. Does anyone else need to roll? I think everyone got it. Okay. Within, I would say Don Jose, like your grapple, I think, and a couple of others maybe, just purely because you know, you guys got spotted. It was expected, but it's still something that makes you go, oh, quick, do the thing. A couple of the grapples land short, which just means they land in the water. But the majority of them go over and are pulled in and anchored, essentially, reasonably easy. At the same time, there is a general kind of activity from both of your ships. Initially, the sloop, the crew seems to be focused on, like, you know, preparing for cannons, you know, preparing for an enemy that's going to come in and trying to shoot them. And then it takes them a little bit of time to adjust to the fact that they're being boarded, because your ship essentially came out of nowhere. So at that point, it switches to more of a, you know what, let's go with this one. No, it would be, you know what, that kind of makes sense. $19? Yeah, that's not great. So they don't adapt very quickly, and even when they do adapt, there is a distinct, there is a slight breakdown in coordination. Essentially, when you realize you have to prepare to repel boarders, you're like, oh shit, we're about to get boarded, oh no. And there's just a slight lack of cohesion, a slight lack of, you know, everyone making the same decision and getting to the right places, to the right spots. It's enough that you don't have to worry about a organized block ready to repel boarders, which means you'll be able to jump over or swing over from ship to ship reasonably easily.
All right.
I learn magic. I cast fireball. I mean, what?
What?
I know. They just said I learn magic. I cast fireball.
Please do not set ships on fire. They are full of wood.
One of the reasons why Sheepy was like, no high magic. Because it's like,
I cast gun. It's super effective.
yeah, it's like if you have high magic, it's like, oh, we're fighting another ship. I cast fireball. The ship's on fire. It's like, okay, that's unfortunate.
Reminds me of playing a D&D game where air to solid or whatever it was a spell, and we had airships.
Oof.
Suddenly, an airship got encased in a block of stone and plummeted.
Oh god, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
We were not nice people. But since ships is ready to be boarded, I guess we be aboarding.
Okay. I'm assuming Bowden's boys are taking the first wave.
Yeah, Bowden likes leading the charge. He's probably the first one to jump onto the ship.
All right.
Lockbox is close behind.
Yeah, you can totally be in the first wave.
I like the idea that that's what they end up being called, just Bowden's boys.
In that case, we'll go for a. I think brawn weaponry makes most sense, but I can be convinced of brawn brawl or brawn athletics, depending on what exactly it is that you are doing.
I think I should do Brawn Brawl because I get right in the middle of it with a shillelagh and just start swinging.
Well, but is that brawl? I thought brawl was melee. It was like hands. Am I crazy?
Yeah, brawl is like boxing. Weaponry is like melee weapons. It's just like shillelagh is a melee weapon.
If you,
I think I did Brawn Brawl before. That's why I suggested it.
if you put points into brawl more than weaponry because you thought brawl was like, you know, then
Yeah, I
I'd
did.
I'd be happy for you to switch them around, brawl and weaponry.
Okay.
Either that, or you can be, the bare knuckle Irishman.
I'm assuming you want to use your shillelagh.
Yeah, I want to cave some skulls in.
Fair enough.
So yeah, feel free to switch those around. That's just a case of being like, yeah, I'll use brawl because that's the fighty one, and not realizing that it's weaponry instead. Yeah.
Alright.
I will be using weaponry because I am cleaving people.
Yes.
I'll go ahead and reroll that too.
Do we get any bonuses for the surprise?
Even 50.
And the training.
No, the training made it so you don't take negatives ultimately. I would say for the surprise, it's more going to affect either their rolls if it's needed that they do rolls, or just their response time. You know, it's affected things like them not getting enough troops in to repel borders and etc.
Yep.
I
I got an even 50.
I
My
got
reroll.
25.
25. Okay. Don Jose, are you going in the first wave? Or you going in a
No, it's second wave.
second? Okay.
Because I don't have a good grapple, so I kind of have to wait until the ship is pulled closer and
Really?
some better ladder is established or something.
That's fair. Odin, your lads and Logbox kind of, jump, swing. I don't think anyone steps, but yeah, gets over to the other side, and with Odin, your axe, right?
Yeah, I have a Dane axe.
Yeah. So with this large axe, just kind of like cutting a little curve through the first ranks. A couple of people. One guy, his head goes flying. Another guy gets bisected at the waist, and just kind of like his torso like flies into the air. His legs fall over, kind of thing. And then Lockbox and the others as well of Bowden's boys. And Lockbox, you question: are you jumping in the center, on the side, like of this group?
Back.
Wherever Bowden isn't. On the other side of Bowden, basically.
Okay. Probably on one of the edge. I imagine Bowden's in the center, so it's probably yeah. Essentially, you swing your shillelagh, brain a couple of people who try to engage you with, swords and cutlasses and whatnot, and quickly learn that, swords can be worrying and scary, but so can giant, hard blocks of wood, basically.
You think your puny metal can stop me? I've got this tree branch.
Take that, carpentry background.
I think what we'll
Legendary artifact. Just
Do what,
actual
or-
tree trunk.
I mean, it makes sense. A stick is a sword-like weapon. If Star Wars has taught us anything.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay. Yeah, so in the melee, one of the soldiers, one of the sailors on the opposing side kind of slips through a couple of your lads and immediately runs to the side bar post thing where the grapples are like hooked into, and brings his sword down on one of them, like severing the rope from the grapple, and then starts making his way down more of them, like desperately trying before you guys manage to realize and turn and grab him and stop him, or cut his head off and stop him, or stab him and stop him. You know, any of these forms of stopping him. I'd say that's probably what you've been looking out for, along with a couple of your guys, Gilligan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I believe a shootsie is finesse aim.
Yeah, it is.
Do you have
Any penalties? I have sniper, so that'll give me a +1, but I just need to know if I have any penalties.
At night, with him not like carrying light to make him super obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say -1 for the night would make
Okay,
sense.
so 0-0, no penalty, no bonus then.
Okay.
Because that just cancels out my sniper. 19.
All right. I think. Yeah, I think as he's bringing his sword down, probably as he's running like along the deck, there's a couple of Bowden's boys have kind of like turned around, realized what he's doing, and being like, "We got to stop him," and start kind of lumbering after him. Obviously, he's a bit quicker, and he had a head start. One of your guys like aims and shoots, and it like ricochets close to his foot, you know, kind of makes him jink a little bit to the side, just to, in case another immediate shot comes with him, comes at him. And then you are a bit more patient. You take your time just a little bit longer, making sure the shot is lined up, making sure you're certain that you're going to hit your target when you fire, and you pull the trigger just as his sword arm comes down again, and at almost the same time, I would say he probably gets hit like a half second before his sword like slices through the rope, causing a bit of a shudder between both of the ships.
Yeah.
However, it's not enough to separate them or anything. There's still like a good 3, 4, 5 grapples in total, like holding everything together. At this point, Bowden and Lockbox start pushing out a little further, pushing them back a little bit along with his lads, and there's enough space for the second wave to essentially jump over and start spreading out.
Coolio, do I roll to grapple?
No, the grapple's been done, so essentially, anyone boarding in the second wave is just going to be rolling their combat stuff, so, you know,
Okay, then.
finesse weaponry, brawn, brawl, depends what you're doing, really.
I'm a stab people.
Okay.
What I'm gonna do.
That's finesse weaponry or brawn weaponry.
You get a +1 from food.
With finesse,
Ooh.
yeah.
Okay, then I will finesse weaponry.
Okay.
Nom.
Damn. Okay. And Don Fernando?
Like, before I roll, I want to point out that for Don Fernando, there are 2 tasks. One thing is striking their colors, like basically try to reach the point where they have their flags mounted and try to like pull it down so that any of their soldiers think they have capitulated.
Yeah.
And secondly is to either kill their captain or force him to surrender. So I don't know which one is closer, but basically that's where I will be trying to go for these
Okay.
2 things. So
Hmm.
finesse and weaponry. Okay. And I'll take 1 more bonus for the food. Oh god, this sucks.
A little rough.
Yeah, it has to be said he's a duelist fighting one-on-one, not exactly this kind of barroom brawl with fighters everywhere.
Yeah, and especially seeing as you have to keep away from from a little kind of like section of the combat, as it's Bowden, his boys, and Logbox, and they're all crazy assholes with the swinging and
Mhm.
Fucking pagans.
yeah. All right. Let's go with Bowden and Lockbox. Could you run me another combat roll just to see how
Sure
you
thing.
proceed here? Damn, you guys like rolling the double ones today.
I'm up to a 36 now.
I'll re-roll that one. For a total of 47.
Yeah. Yeah, and damn, it's the double ones and the double tens. There's a surprising amount of them today.
The dice gods give and the dice gods take away.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. As you are fighting, there are a couple of attempts to kind of almost like a wave attack. You know, like there's a bit of kind of pummeling and melee, and then there's a slight ebb in the combat, and then there's like a rise where a group of the sailors kind of band together and charge forward, trying to like smash into the Bowden wall, let's call it. It just makes me think of NBA Jam when you have the monsters, the aliens turn up and they're all fucking, massive and they
Like a rugby wall, like the players before the ball is dropped.
yeah, pretty much. Okay. In that case, the pushing back is fairly easy. My question for Bowden and Lockbox, and for the guys in the first wave boarding party, what is the combat doctrine essentially currently? Are you taking pains to kill, or are you just like smacking the crap out of whoever's nearby and moving on as quickly as possible, like keep pushing?
Bowden himself is probably not holding back, considering he's using an axe, and he's probably not going to turn the axe around and try to hit someone with the haft.
Yeah.
But as for his boys, it depends on what weapons we've mostly geared them with.
My guess would be they'd be mostly like aping you using axes, right?
And if we're using mostly axes, it's definitely aim to maim. Because a guy holding his chest, because an axe just got buried into it, is probably not going to get back up. We're not sitting there and aiming to kill someone who's already on the ground. We're definitely knocking people over, stepping over bodies, going to the next guy.
I mean, that's a bit of a risk, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that is a risk. There's definitely not a lot of holding back. There's definitely a lot of
Killing?
probably a lot of killing, yeah.
Alright. A few of the a few of the
She,
crew.
before you go ahead,
Yeah.
Lockbox is just swinging. He won't kill anyone who surrenders, but if you don't surrender, you're dead.
I mean, currently speaking, it's middle of the melee, and there's no real indication, at least in theory, as to like, oh, we're already losing, we should surrender, right?
Oh,
Currently, everyone's just fighting.
I don't care. If they surrender, they surrender. If they don't, they're dead.
Okay, good to know.
Raise your hands up and surrender against Bowden. He's just gonna think he accidentally dropped your weapon and just swing between your opened arms.
Okay.
Brutal.
So yeah, during the melee, let's just go on for this myself. Generalized. That's not terrible. No double ones for Sheepy. Suck it. Although to be fair, quite a lot of the reasons you guys have been rolling double ones is you're rolling enough dice for that to be viable. But I'm still going to take the win. Yeah. During the fight, a couple of...
Hostile GM. Sorry.
During the fight, a couple of Bowden's boys do go down. One of them just straight up dead, like pistol shot to the face. And another one like wounded. Not sure exactly what. I'm assuming you don't slow down to check on them. So, you know.
Do any of them
if
have arrows in them?
To
No.
put this bluntly, if one of Bowden's boys was to get shot in the face and fall in front of him, Bowden would step on the body and then kill the person who shot him.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm talking more about the injured one. You know, someone goes down wounded, you can't really tell how. I'm assuming there's no like.
No, he has no battlefield medicine mindset. He's definitely. If you go down, you're considered dead. Until
Lockbox will step by him while asking, "Are you dead?"
Lockbox is our moral compass right now.
Yeah. He's kind of like...
One gurgle for alive, two for dead.
I don't even know how to respond to that one, because... yeah, no, he's the guy who's down and not dead, is kind of rolling around a little bit, like there's some blood pooling underneath him. He appears to be holding a round about his shoulder or chest, so possible he's not like.
You'll probably live. Try and get
Actually,
back
now,
to the ship.
a question now, like retroactively, did we take the ship Surgeon Lucy with us? Like, I assume if we did, he's still on the main ship, but...
Yeah, he'll still be on the main ship.
Okay.
Generally...
I'm pretty sure we took most people.
You took everyone, basically. No, like, the ship surgeon is more of a after-action thing.
Yeah, that's what I assume.
Yeah.
That's why I told this guy to just try and get back to the ship if he can.
Yeah. Okay. With that... Look here. Yes. A couple more of the second wave are taken out, either killed outright or wounded, you know, sword slashes, sword pokies, even a pistol shot. But you all manage to form a pretty solid a pretty solid kind of melee line, let's call it, and quite quickly start pushing the soldiers back. I'll add as well in there that there are the occasional shots coming from your kind of rigging crow's nest as when the opportunity presents itself. When the opportunity presents itself, Mr. Gilligan and a couple of his lads are, you know, like taking shots where they can. Could I get a final combat roll for all of the borders?
Yep.
Alrighty.
Damn, those double ones, guys.
Yeah, I guess I could reroll one of them because I have
26.
48 total with double tens. Bowden's enjoying himself.
Alright, so the current scenario is the crew of the enemy ship is being pushed back, and they're not cohesive enough to form a decent resistance at this point. There's no particular, because of the fact that it's nighttime and possibly other factors, there doesn't seem to be any kind of like overarching knowledge on their ship that they are losing and that things are getting worse. So the combat continues. However, the combat continues in such a way that maybe aside from a couple of losses, either injuries or straight up deaths like before, you're going to make fairly quick and very steady progress. I'm gonna hit a sidebar for Mr. Gilligan, who is still on the ship.
Yeah.
It is hard to say. You know what? Actually, just purely because it's so rare I get to have people roll dice because of my own fucking nature. If you give me a wits and notice.
Okay. Any bonuses?
I'd say yeah, take a dice. Okay.
22.
Okay, not bad. So as you aren't super involved in the boarding, because most of the time it's a melee and you don't want to hit your own people, you do take the chance to keep an eye on the galley.
Yeah.
You see that even after the shots start and the clanging of metal and the fighting starts, it doesn't make any attempts to turn around or to, like, you know, come back to here. It appears to keep going. You make a note of the generalized direction, which is useful because as you keep going, the lights on the galleys kind of wink out quite quickly and fairly in unison.
Captain Skeleton,
Aye.
the galley's making a run for it, and they've doused their lights.
Did you catch the direction they're going in?
And seeing as I'm in the crow's nest, I point exactly where I saw them
Good lads.
and which way they were going.
Once we've taken this, we'll set course and chase them down. By the time it's morning, even if they've changed direction, we'll still be able to catch them.
Very good, sir.
I think at this point, as I said, like, the writing is on the wall. So what I'm gonna say is I hand the scene over to you four, as you've all rolled pretty decently. There are a good kind of probably 20 crew members left alive, a little bit disparate in smaller, like, knotted groups. So, you know, feel free to charge into or engage in a complicated melee with them and let me know for each of you how that plays out. I will say that they're not aware enough of the situation to straight up surrender. They are probably fighting a bit more defensive and etc.
Yeah. For Matthias's part, I've got in my mind's eye this image of him like just walking onto the ship, like he gets aboard, and like just immediately stabs a person that was that was sneaking up to cut the grapples, and then just calmly walks like around the battle, killing the occasional crew member that's like on the outskirts of the battle. But he's looking for, pardon?
Kind of picking and choosing.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But he's looking for the captain or whoever's in charge.
Oh, all right. We'll have another roll then.
Yay, more rolls. I do like rolls. They're tasty.
Could you give me a wits notice, please?
I could do that. Do I get any bonuses?
So, I wouldn't say Eagle Eye really works here.
No.
But I do think that Magpie does.
Okay, so that's a bonus dice.
So that would be the bonus dice for Magpie. Yeah.
Woot, 23.
23? Okay.
Yar.
Yes, you catch a glint in what remains of the light as you're kind of like keeping back a little bit, you know, trying to keep an eye out for the captain. You see a glint, you see, and you focus on it. You see kind of like a slightly more pristine, well, yeah, uniform and hat and whatnot. Unfortunately, it is on the body of a heavily dead person.
Fair enough. I mean,
who appears to be cut almost completely in half and then stomped over. So
yeah.
Fairly safe bet to say that he went down fighting fairly early.
Yeah.
It just wasn't noticed.
Yeah, like he looks down and there's this ever so brief look of disappointment. Not because he cares that the captain's dead, it's just he had hoped to end the fighting early by making the captain surrender, but he just shrugs and continues walking. He's going into the ship to look for the captain's quarters and the cartographer's cabin.
Okay.
So seeing as the captain's dead, he's gonna get started on looting the ship while everyone else is mopping up. And killing anyone that's inside the like inside the ship, basically, that's hiding away. Like killing them all, making them surrender if they're stupid enough to keep fighting.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he won't kill a surrendering person. He's not a monster.
I like how that's kind of the line drawn for a lot of you, which is like, I'll kill a shit ton of people, but if they're surrendered, like I'm not a monster. I won't kill them.
Yeah, I'm not a savage.
It's not that I'm not a monster. It's that it's not fun then.
And then over to the left is Bowden and his boys. Like 3 people have put their hands up, like, we surrender.
And he's
and
like,
then
don't
they
care,
just leave
smash.
down. It's like, oh god, there's 3 of them.
Like there's 3 of them going, we surrender, and Bowden's like, ooh, target practice. Whack-a-mole, whack, whack, whack.
Why did they drop their swords?
I don't understand. Why are they kneeling? Why are they begging for mercy?
For Don Jose, just as a note, you're probably not immediately aware of the captain being dead, but at the same time, it's probably something that you will reasonably easily easily be able to find out. The colors are where the colors usually are, basically. So, if you still want to engage in one of those activities, I will say, at this point, there's a significant number of dead on their side, and a few on yours as well. So.
And no, to me, like, yeah, if I learn that the captain is dead, if I don't, I will still keep looking for him. But if I'm closer to the colors, I will try to like drop them. But like for combat, I probably wouldn't go that much like forward on the front line. I would probably be trying to more like direct groups of our borders to go where they are more needed. But otherwise, I would probably just keep sword, like rapier in one hand, pistol in the other, and just poke at people, block with the pistol, and poke them in the face, etc. But yeah,
like, as you,
yeah, I mean, I only have one pistol, so it's reload is kind of low. Yeah, but generally it's more about the kind of tactical redirecting of groups of people and like trying to achieve my mission of striking the colors.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else before we wrap things up?
Lockbox will step up to a small group of sailors left and say, "You have two choices: surrender or go see Davy Jones. What do you choose?" While holding his bloodied, with brain slowly dripping off it shillelagh in one hand.
Honestly, it's in the current situation, I don't think you're going to find a bunch of soldiers who aren't already engaged in melee. You know?
Well, I'm not saying... Well, yeah. If there's none not engaged, I will say that, and whoever drops it, I won't attack.
Well, but so...
I can't...
what my point... what I'm saying is like... They're engaged in melee, so you're...
Okay, I see then.
Yeah,
Then, I just walk up probably behind them and brain a couple.
Okay. that's fair. Yeah, so I would imagine as it gets down to the last few of their sailors, you're probably going to get people surrendering. But I'm talking like probably the last guy in a few of the groups. So we're talking like max 5 people.
Man, sucks for you guys over on that ship who have to clean that shit up. Ugh,
Yeah,
that's rough.
It's a little bit messy.
Yeah.
One of the unfortunate parts of having Bowden's boys is, you know, they don't just neatly slide a rapier into someone's heart. They
This is what Viscera cleanup detail was made for.
yeah, there's a little bit of vibe of that.
Sheepy, because I'm a douche,
Yes.
I point to the 5 who are... Please.
What?
Yeah, you're gonna have to repeat that, I'm afraid.
You cut out.
Oh, I said, I point to the 5 sailors who are left from the original crew and tell them to clean up the bodies.
Wow, that's cold. Making
That's
them
dark.
clean up their dead crewmates. Wow, dude.
Don Jose will intervene and say we don't have time for that. We will say the prisoners, like at that point I will pretend I am actually the captain of the now captured ship and say the prisoners will go back to our original ship. The boarding parties will split, one of them returns back, one of them stays with us, and we will get this ship underway to chase the galleon.
Yeah.
Which ship
I'll
is
stay
most
here
likely
since
to
I'm the only
board the
chef.
galleon? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I didn't hear either of you, so I'm not sure what
Yeah, I accidentally talked over Lockbox. Go ahead.
I said I'll stay here since I'm the only chef.
Okay. And I was asking which ship is most likely to attempt to board the galley.
I assume both will try.
Okay.
Yeah, probably both, honestly.
Alright, then I guess I'll stay with my boys since we can muscle the masts and stuff to do what we need to do.
Yeah, and the intention, Don Jose, was for you to take captaincy of this ship.
Yes.
So,
Like, try to like send someone to see what their ship, what their sails look like, if the rudder is not jammed, if the cannons are operational. Like, kind of do me a quick check. I'll start sailing towards. What if I even see the other galley? It's possible that they turned off their lights before I noticed.
all right. In that case, yeah, it's. You have the 5 prisoners are taken over, and probably a better choice, really, like having the enemy ship, having the enemy crew sailors put onto your ship makes it just that little bit safer in terms of like putting them in the brig and making sure they can't get out. Like, you never know. Like, even if there's no fishy business going on, like on your own ship, being in the brig, you're probably a bit more aware of, you know, possible.
I'm not going to like detail someone to even figure out where is the keys for from their brig.
Yeah.
So, someone on a boat declares that there's no fishy business going on. The boat gets destroyed by a kraken.
So yeah, you're able to turn things around pretty quickly, get all of the crew on the sails, and get someone, you know, on the wheel, navigation and stuff.
BRB, there's a dog at my door.
Oh, okay. And yeah, you quite quickly, with a bit of fast communication with Captain Skelton, once you have everything in hand, like I would say probably throw the majority of the bodies off the ship, just in kind of like a in the way, yoink, or yeet, I guess, kind of thing.
Yeet, motherfucker.
Yeah. You find yourselves both on the way in the direction that Mr. Gilligan kind of threw out there for both of you. Now,
yeah, I guess that by this point it's no point in being in the dark. I think we can like turn on the lights and everything.
Yeah, the lights go on, and pardon me, and you're off with the sloop. Give me 1 sec. Can I ask a question quickly? And this is something I really should know. I believe that the ship is Vodachi. It's from a different.
It's from a different prince's domain.
Yeah.
There are 9 princes in Vodachi that have their own trading companies. We're contracted by one of them, or we were tipped off by one of them.
Yeah. So, do you keep the name it has, Don Jose, or do you quickly, like, you know?
For now, I don't even care what's it called, to be honest.
Okay.
I think we can talk about it. I would probably vote for just keeping the ship name it had, but I think this will be like sorted after we get home and everything gets sorted.
Well, I would say if you're stealing ships, you probably want to change the name, but that's just me.
Pull up to the Vodachi port in their own stolen ship.
How do they know it's stolen?
I mean, you know, I'm just saying, like, it's probably not worth the risk of being like, hey, you know, you go into a Vodachi port, like, oh man, did you hear what happened to the Principessa? And he's like, no, what happened? It's like, apparently it was lost at sea, and everyone died, and there's rumors that maybe it was, you know, like monsters or pirates or something. Like, oh man, that sucks. He's like, yeah. And they like both turn around and look, and it's just like the Princess is just like sliding into port with a whole load of like English dudes being like, "Hey, what up, chappies? How's it going? What?"
What?
And they're like,
Does anyone have a spot of tea?
their eyes just narrow into slits, and they're like,
That's okay. We hit up one of those GTA paint shops before we came in.
Yeah. How did we find one in the ocean? Who cares? It was there.
All right, mate. I'm the captain, and this is my ship, the Princey Pizza.
The Princey Pizza.
The pizza.
Okay, man, you
the
can
pizza
copy my work,
pizza.
but don't make it obvious that you copied my work.
Yeah.
This is my new ship, the Pizzeria.
This is my new ship, the Prince Peter.
As you
Princess
said,
Peach.
as you said, Don Jose, like, there's no need to know the ship name or to, make a new one. I just wanted to check in case you did.
Just paint it a different color. Give the ship glasses. It worked in Superman. It works for Superman right
For now, it's just the other ship.
Yeah. I don't think we need a roll from the other ship, but I am going to ask for a roll from you, Don Jose. Let us go with wits sailing with your leadership.
By that leadership, you mean 1 bonus?
Yes, sir. Okay, not bad. Do you want to re-roll the one again?
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, it's great.
Okay, so that's 46. That's pretty good. Yeah. You like the Lucine? Obviously, everyone's been in it for quite a while. Wait, it is the Lucine, isn't it? The one you're in?
Yeah, it's the Lucky Lucine.
Okay. At this point, I keep thinking it's the Kelpie because I've said the Kelpie and then, I've got it wrong enough as the Kelpie that I now think that the right answer is the Kelpie because brains are interesting. But honestly, this ship, as you are walking around it, throwing out orders, people are kind of, pulling ropes and fluffing sails and all the kind of things that people do. It is actually interesting. It appears to be a newer design, and more specifically, it appears to be a newer design that is geared more towards combat.
Didn't fucking help them, who did it?
Well, what I mean by that is it has 18 guns.
Ooh.
So that would explain why it was slower than the galleon, is because it was a sloop designed with more guns. Essentially, it was a gunship, let's call it.
Well, it's ours now.
Which is interesting because I think what are the guns on your on the Lucine? I think is it 12?
I think our max is 12, yeah.
So it actually also wasn't a terrible idea to use the tactic you used, because if you went guns to guns, it could have been more difficult than actually you would have imagined.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, a sloop's gonna be like 8 to 10 guns maybe, and
How many guns did you say this one has?
18.
18? Oh my god, it's a sloop of war.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, but it might be slow, which is also not the greatest for plundering. But maybe we can make it lighter if we drop the guns.
It's very slightly larger than an average sloop, and it's also not built specifically for speed. But essentially one of the things you can do for it fairly easily is take a load of the guns off, and it will be lighter and faster.
Or train someone for gunnery and shoot someone's mast off.
As we charge into battle, somebody needs to shout, cry havoc, and let's sloop the dogs of war.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
sure
the
they have
Kraken
to.
is just steering.
Well, guys, it's been fun, but the game's over.
No, it's alright, I've got this, I've got a solution. A shot rings out in the dark, and Matthias Brixton is unfortunately dead.
Dun dun dun!
But yeah, no.
Who held the gun? It was both.
Everyone.
Oh my
Well,
goodness!
I
Jesus.
mean,
You're not shooting Brixton, sir. You didn't hear that pun.
just from
Just saying, if I wanted to, I could.
yeah,
What a, what a waste
pure
of 3 tens.
instinct.
yeah, what on pure instinct. What you don't know is I actually created a Barrett 50 cal, and
I mean, musket balls are almost that size.
yeah, no, basketballs are
That's
actually
why I
bigger than a
attempted dodge.
50.
My attempt to dodge was exactly half. I got 18. Oh well, I
Nice.
die. I die a horrible death. The pun was worth it. I regret nothing.
You guys know you're not actually shooting Doozer, and Doozer, you're not actually having to dodge bullets. Just
I
putting
know.
that
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. I
As
just
far
wanted
as
to
you know.
see. I wanted to see
Yeah.
what would happen if
We're
I was
creating
shooting
humor the
Doozer.
only way we know how.
Yeah.
Brutally murdering our friends.
We just the rest of the session is just a what if like dream scenario where
Gilligan shot.
yeah, like everything goes crazy. People start shooting each other and like stabbing and killing each other, and then
No.
Yeah.
it turns out to just be like a daydream that Gilligan's having.
This is actually me shooting Brooks.
Well,
He looked at me
is
funny.
What Sorry. This is what happens when you take hallucinogens before ship combat.
Ugh,
One
this
of
is
you
like a
just go-
you problem.
I mean, I
Pardon?
could have done one worse. I could have taken it during ship combat.
Yeah.
So someone in the notes may want to make note of this, as long as everything maintains and is fine. The ship that you just got, the sloop, it is 2 sails, and 18 cannons.
Voice.
It is also not heavily laden down, but it is also laden with a significant amount of black powder. Which means that you now have 7 combats worth total.
Just changed it.
Essentially, there's more powder here than you would expect them to have, which lends credence to the idea that possibly one of the ships was left, and so they just loaded it up with a bit more powder because, you know, because they could.
What is the minimum crew size, optimal crew size, maximum crew size of a sloop?
That would be 10, 20, 30. Oh, it's a lot easier to handle.
Okay.
But I would say, you know what? Say 10, 30, 40. Just purely because of the number of cannons.
40.
Like, the
Okay.
10 is making an assumption that you have no one on the fucking cannons. And therefore it's like, yeah, 30, 40 will allow you to have people on the cannons and still control the ship. Okay. So, you adjust your bearings, get going, and through the rest of the night, of which there's a good, like, 3-4 hours to maintain, You question, how quiet are you keeping?
I'm probably not interested in keeping quiet.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Do we
I'm napping.
still do we have at least like visual on the galleon, or are we just sailing basically by a memory?
No vision. You're essentially sailing in the last direction the galleon was seen traveling, under the assumption that even if they do change course a bit, if you head in that direction, like they're not going to turn back, basically.
Yeah, I assume also the wind is
if
would slightly slow them down if
Yeah.
they changed.
They douse their lights, so chances are they know that the sloop is being attacked, so they're gonna be on alert, right? So
Oh yeah, I mean, like they weren't that far away. They were far
Yeah.
enough away that they weren't able to like engage and help, and it would have taken a bit of time for them to come back. But the gunshots and the screaming and everything was a dead giveaway that the ship
Yeah.
was being attacked.
yeah, so they're gonna be
Talking
on
about they're just
alert.
throwing
They're
a
not
party.
gonna. They're probably not gonna let the sloop get close to them because they will be under the assumption that the sloop has potentially been boarded or taken.
Yeah.
So
I just see. I
so
just.
stealth is kind of pointless. Like we've lost the element of surprise
Oh
now.
yeah, 100%. I was just checking to see if you wanted to run quiet. But I
mean, would running quiet slow us down?
No, not really.
I mean, then Matthias would posit the idea of running quiet, because if we run quiet, we might be able to get just a little closer, which might give us a bit more of an edge.
You would have to douse your lights as well, because the lights are a bit of a giveaway.
Yeah. I mean, he'd posit the idea to Captain Skelton.
Are you back on the Lucky Lucine, or did you stay on the sloop?
I don't know. I mean, he did go go through the captain's stuff, so he's probably still on the sloop, actually.
I will say that aside from just some generic like weapons and powder and pistols and etc., there's not too much of interest on this ship. Just
Fair enough.
It's a combat ship. It was on escort duty. They weren't carrying anything particularly interesting.
Fair dues. Well, once he's determined that there isn't anything of value, he'll go back to the Lucky Lucine to report to Captain Skelton.
Yeah. And the ships stay running. Not loud, but just there's not really much suppression or anything. Like it Captain Skelton essentially says like, it's a nice idea, but at this point, it makes more sense to see where we are and to maintain communication across the ships. So it's a decent possibility, but I don't think it's going to aid us enough for it to be worthwhile.
True enough. Well, either way, we need to prepare for a bigger fight.
That we do. So currently speaking, the Lucky Lucine is a bit faster, and therefore will slowly, over a bit of time, push, ahead of the sloop. Not too much you can do about that, aside from maybe throwing off some stuff that weighs, so that would be like powder and I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah.
No.
Burn off a couple hundred dead bodies.
Oh yeah, that's been done, and it was like 30 or 40.
Couple of hundred, lol.
Alright. In that case, Mr. Gilligan, you're going to probably spot the ship first.
Okay.
It has pretty much tacked directly into the wind and trying to carry itself as far away as possible. However, that's fairly minimal because they were mostly into the wind anyway. They were mostly like wind coming up behind them anyway, like into the most optimal kind of thing. So yeah, it's gonna be I guess the problem is the wind is going in a certain direction. It's kind of hard to take a right angle escape pattern and just go like, I'm going in a completely different direction. Their hope was to probably outrun you, or at least get far enough away that you'd give up or not be able to see where they are. Doesn't really work because that fight was over fairly quickly, and you got things under control and got moving pretty quickly. So, like they're in vision, and they're probably even closer than when you initially sighted them. As blobs on the horizon, you can probably see, even with the bare eye, like some activity, some running back and forth, etc.
Captain Skeleton.
Aye.
Ship sighted.
Thank you, Mr. Gilligan. Alright, lads. Man the guns. We're going to move in closer, and then when the time is right, we're going to set off a volley from each ship.
What do I see with the eagle eye?
You see people running up and down the ship.
Okay, nothing that causes concern or anything.
The numbers are about what you'd expect for a galley.
Fair enough.
Which is actually surprisingly fairly low. Maybe a few extra soldiers. Or like, let's call them soldiers for the sake of argument. They're not just sailors who sail the ship.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing worrying that you can see at least.
Yeah. Captain, it looks like they have a few extra men than is expected, but doesn't seem to be anything untoward on the deck so far. These, keeping an eye in case they pull out some kind of doomsday weapon. They just have a death ray under the deck. They just
have a wand of fireball. Good to know, Mr. Brixton. Alright, lads, let's get a little closer, and then let's fire off that volley. I want you aiming at their sails. If we miss, we'll tack again and keep pursuing them until you're loaded up again. So who is on the who is on the Lucky Lucine, and who would have an active involvement with the cannons?
I could, but I'm usually up in the crow's nest.
Yeah.
What do I roll for cannons?
That would be probably wit's aim, I would say, at a guess.
Okay then. Well, that's 5 points. So
I would say
I'll be on the cannons.
I would say either finesse or wit's aim. Wits makes more sense to me, but
does sniper work for cannons?
I would say yes. Depending on the situation.
Then if it's wit's aim, I would be willing to also do cannons. That gives me 6.
Does Eagle Eyes work for cannons?
Have a look at what Eagle Eye does.
As long as you have a clear line of sight, you see perfectly out to a distance of 1 mile.
So I would say if you're targeting something very specific, which will also be more difficult.
The enemy ship, is that specific enough?
It's specific, but I don't think having Eagle
Sail?
Eye. I don't think having Eagle Eye will give you a benefit to
Fair enough.
like shooting it, right?
Okay, well, wits aim. Do I roll now or?
Yeah.
Okay, then any bonus dice?
I don't think so.
I mean, we got a bonus dice for food earlier, so.
But that was for finesse.
Fair enough. Well, that wasn't fantastic, but
That's not terrible.
could have been worse.
So I'm assuming because you said the thing that your guy would just be up in the, you know.
Yeah. If they wanted me to aim a cannon, I would, but I would be up in the crow's nest otherwise. That's where me and my proto marksman are.
All right. I think the initial shots mostly travel a little bit wide of the masts. However, there's a few shots that do. There's a few shots that do hit the ship itself, and one leaves a fairly decent hole in it. The other one just, you know, kind of skims it and gouges a little section out of the hull. Not fully, so it's not like sprung a leak and just like you know, already sinking profusely. But yeah, I would say
I like the idea of just being skimmed by a cannonball. Like that wouldn't kill you anyway.
yeah. So the other ship is probably in a position to attack and fire as well. If anyone would like to take on those roles.
I think that. Yep.
Well, does sniper work?
Oh yeah, sorry. So that was what we were talking about earlier. So I would say sniper.
No, for me firing with the other ship.
Oh, you're not on the other ship, right?
Oh, I thought you were talking about we get to roll for the enemy ship.
Oh no. This is for the sloop. Sorry.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
No, I mean Don Jose is currently on the wheel, so if anyone is firing it, it's probably going to be some NPCs.
Okay.
I can
Take a
I can
crack at it.
fire.
What am I aiming what?
Wits.
Wits. Or finesse, but that'd be slightly different.
I'm gonna do finesse.
Okay. I will say that there is a higher success gate for finesse because that is you solo taking a shot at something specific.
I get one more die and I get the bonus die from my cooking with finesse.
Okay.
I'll do wits.
Does large help?
Why would large help?
Oh, wait, I got discerning eye. Oh, never mind. So, yeah.
I mean, it's possible that the mast will make a great ingredient, but yeah.
No, I do get to re-roll one of those ones.
I mean, the sail will have a lot of fiber.
What is with wave 1 of boarding party where they just keep getting double ones?
I don't know.
Snake
At
eye.
least one of them's a 3 now.
They were the first wave. That's why they have ones. And there
You're
were no
number
waves.
one.
Okay. That's not bad, actually.
Considering...
And Lockbox, you rolled the finesse, right?
Yep.
Okay, so, as you tack, Don Jose, and you bring the guns of this sloop to bear on the galley, almost a galleon again, you hear the kind of like gush, 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 gush of the cannons going off one by one, and you're like listening to the rhythm. You're like, oh yeah, all good. Like they're firing at the right times. Like it's like different ship but same principle. But you hear like a gap in the firing where you expect another shot, and you're like, huh, that's weird. Did one of them like misfire or just fizzle out or something? Like, what's going on there? And then a little bit after that, there is a final kind of like goosh as Lockbox was taking his time, let's say, in his aiming, right, waiting for the right moment to it kind of.
Oh, so it wasn't like an explosion of misfire; it was just slightly delayed gun. Okay.
It was someone aiming a bit more insistently. And yeah, the cannonball flies true and straight and just decimates one of the probably using chain shot, because chain shot is great for taking down sails, makes sense. Yeah, the one of the masts just gets decimated by the chain shot and kind of like snaps it and rips it down. It starts to fall.
Jose, I got a sail.
Excellent. That's probably all I will remark.
You just steeple your fingers and like wrap them together. Excellent. Smithers, we've got a ship.
The chain on the chain shot just has engraved on it, fuck you in particular.
I will say, however, that at that point, the galley strikes its colors, like maybe a minute after that sail goes down, and kind of hoves to in essentially like a gesture of surrender.
Yeah, they do.
There's like a cheer from the lads, and Skelton essentially instructs you, Don Jose, to. It's not really like cover me, but you know what I mean? He's like, you hang back a little bit and make sure that there's no funny business.
So yeah, I will probably go from the other side of the ship.
Okay.
And keep our cannons loaded, probably with actual grape shot, if their crew wants to do something, and just blast them.
Yeah.
Probably even like completely furl our sails to not move or maintain the same speed as them.
And as you're kind of like, as you're coming close enough to board, I'm assuming you've gotten down from the crow's nest or brigging, etc., Mr. Gilligan.
Sure.
Captain Skeleton says, how do you feel about handling the negotiations, lad?
Well, that sounds like right up my alley, Mr. Skeleton.
Perfect. We'll get on and secure the crew, and then secure the goods. If you have a chat with them and make sure they're not going to cause any trouble, that'd be grand.
Of course, and what will we do with the galley?
My thought is we let it loose. We leave them to limp back to the Vadachi port, probably. Or maybe even their own, you know.
Yes. Okay. Well, if that is the result you want, that is the result I will tell them about.
Jolly good.
Matthias will go with Gilligan, sort of like as backup bodyguard sort of thing.
Okay.
Are there spare pistols?
Define spare.
Pistols that anybody in the crew can pick up?
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring a brace of pistols with me.
Okay.
I assume the sloop is just pulling up alongside as well.
Skelton essentially informed Don Jose to hang back in a position away from the cannons, away from the guns, you know, like the rear or so, you know, at worst all that can be brought to bear is like a swivel gun, and at a certain distance swivel guns just, you know,
Bowden's annoyed.
That's fair.
Well, he wants to board the ship. He realizes it's surrendered, but he wants to board anyway.
I know they've surrendered, but can't I kill them anyway? Just in case.
And as you're just pulling up and grappling, and the first crew members start to step on the ship, yeah, the Skeleton, along with a few likely lads, probably like 10, 15 likely lads, kind of sweep past the prisoners who are in, you know, general poses of like, look, we're not armed except for, you know, just a little bit, but even that doesn't really count. And they head down into the galley to check out the storage.
Okay. I will go to where is the captain?
The captain is basically like a say probably like 40 or so sailors in a big bunch, where the captain appears to be kind of like the, I'm not gonna say voice of reason, but you know, like he's the one there who's the calmest, and he's obvious from his gear and outfit as well.
I will walk up to him then. Greetings, Captain. I see you are a man of an intellect.
I don't really like to show off, but I had a decent education.
Yes.
I look insult
What?
or a compliment.
Oh, I'm not muted. I am sorry.
Are Snorri and the boys with me?
Yeah.
Okay, I have my house Carls with me then. I am happy to hear that. It is always good to converse with someone who has been taught manners.
The eyes do shift a little bit to the left or the right, but try to act like, oh yeah, no, I wasn't judging. Anyway,
Yeah.
and the captain says, so, what do you plan to do with us?
Well, after we have taken what we want, you shall be allowed to limp back to the Vadachi port, as is the gift of my captain.
I guess we do not have much of a choice.
I'm glad you see it that way.
In the distance, you hear Bowden. You could fight.
Bowden gets shot.
Just turns
If
around.
you could also hand over your logbooks, that would be greatly appreciated.
And any maps and any other useful documents.
Just want to kill him a little bit.
When you say hand over,
Yes.
those things are available. They are already on the ship. I would prefer not to actively engage in handing them over to you, if you understand what I mean.
Yes. And yes. You cannot be helpful. You must be threatened.
I cannot.
No, I understand where you're coming from, sir. We are going to make a game of this. Snorri, please look threatening. Invest in. I say that to him, invest in.
He just like growls at him.
Yeah. As I was, well, you cannot hand it over to me, Captain. I understand your position. Would you show me where they are?
I mean, they are out. They are in my quarters. They are in the.
Yes, lead the way, sir.
Could you maybe get the put a sword to my back at least? You know, like you are.
I pull out one of the pistols. Of
I was
course,
gonna-
I cock.
yes.
Without actually cocking it, I make the noise with my mouth.
I was gonna
Please,
say
lead the way,
I was gonna
sir.
have Matthias do the exact same thing. So now he's got 2 pistols pointed at him.
And yeah,
As I said, we will play this game.
And he leads you to the quarters, and yeah, just like that type of stuff just kind of lying out.
Yeah. And so I look over them, and you wouldn't have any hidden logs, would you?
No.
Because I would be rather upset if you did.
There is not really much of a need to hide anything like logs. We do not have the experience or the knowledge in this area yet, so.
I gather up the logbooks, and I assume Matthias gathers up the maps.
Yeah. Matthias will also pick up any like valuables he sees, but before he pockets them, before he pockets them, he'll ask the captain if there's anything of particular personal or sentimental value, and if the captain says there is, then he'll leave that. He won't take it.
Nothing particularly stands out, at least. Nothing.
Fair enough.
As you're dealing in the quarters with the captain, one of the other generic crewmates, etc., runs in and says, "Lads, weird." I had to stop myself from saying we hit the jackpot because I'm like, I don't think jackpot was actually a thing back then.
Yeah.
I think it'd be more like motherload, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This job came up good. There's lots of crates down there, and all of them are to the brim.
Very good.
And we will end there for today for now.
One last thing before I leave. Captain, would you like to look like you struggled?
Honestly, by the time we get back in the speed we will be going, most of it will have been faded anyway. I don't mind looking like I tried to put up a fight or whatever, but I don't particularly want to get, hurt for no strong reason.
Then I'll go over to his wardrobe. Which of these coats do you like the least?
That one.
I tear it up a little bit to make it look like you struggled.
Of course.
And I'll leave.
Okay. So.
Could make it look like he struggled.
Yeah. Any of my house Carls could too.
I know, I'm just far away on another boat.
So, for the end, we are going to go from top to bottom. We're gonna go from top to bottom, and so Bowden, could you please roll me a d20?
Okay. Unrecognized command. Hold on. Natural 1.
Oh, okay.
Oof.
That's fine. You have could also probably down the bottom below the Keeler expedition. If someone could just throw down a basic set of notes for this as I go through them. So you have found within the galley there is one crate of turquoise.
Just turquoise?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if it was going to be turquoise something, or if it was just turquoise.
Oh, I mean, turquoise is a fairly nice
It
gemstone.
does, yeah.
Once it's been.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I always hear it as a descriptor and not as an object.
Right. Don Jose.
Yes.
Could you roll me a d16, please? Damn. Alright. You have also within the ship there are 13 crates of aquamarine.
Just what is a crate? How big is it? Is it like shoebox sized for our purposes?
It's probably about waist height.
Damn, son.
Yeah, pretty big.
A lot of aquamarine.
Oh yeah. Well, there could have been a lot of turquoise, but someone rolled a 1.
Listen, I had to fail at something. Did you see how many 10s I rolled?
Oh, I did.
Anyway,
And,
just note to self: don't let me roll on loot tables. Apparently.
yeah. Okay, and then Mr. Gilligan / Perto, could you roll me a d10? There are 8 crates of garnet. And garnets are pretty. Monsignor Lockbox, could you please roll me a d6? Damn, guys, you're getting the good rolls. 5 crates of emerald.
I mean, if we are rolling just a single die, we can't roll double ones.
True.
I tried.
And Mr. Brixton, could you please roll me a d3? Not bad. And finally, 2 crates of diamonds.
Damn. we got a lot of shit here. How much is all of this worth?
It's hard.
I imagine quite a lot.
Hard to say.
That depends on negotiation skills.
Yeah.
Mm.
Plus, also a portion of it goes to the other Vodachi trading company.
Hmm.
Wants to try to smuggle my single crate of turquoise.
And everyone just gets a single turquoise each.
Yeah. There is also about 4 crates of essentially it is gold and like a fair few pieces of like, call it jewelry. It doesn't exactly, you know, scream jewelry to you, like, but crowns, etc. Like, or at least looks similar to what you know crowns and, you know, bracelets and necklaces, etc. look like to a degree. And there's like 4 boxes of that. A few of them occasionally have indications that there was, you know, some type of gemstone, like, you know, kind of in it. Maybe. Yeah. Aside from that, again, like same with the other ship, you're mostly looking at pretty generic, like just randomness. Not randomness, like pretty generic, like ship stuff. Nothing that stands out, or, you know, there's no convenient wall oven in the ship that just can get ripped out and taken back to the island.
That's a shame. Is there a book on herbs and spices and how to care for them?
There's one.
What's that? You want me to rip a board out of the ship to bring back to the island? Okay.
There's one specific book. It's the only book on either of the 2 ships that you have boarded today. That just said mint everything you need to know about it.
Awesome.
I'm joking. There isn't.
Damn it.
However, I am going to end the recording here. So, you know, all the stuff and things and everything. Hope anyone who does end up watching the video enjoys the video. And apologies to Perto for not getting the other one out before this one started.
Oh, it's fine.